Lalo, has there been any sort of backlash that you've experienced? I mean, obviously you're a fairly public person, and so you're going to run into people on Twitter that are going to misbehave, and no matter what. But for example, we voted in an election here for something called Brexit, in which a number of people basically said we want to close off our borders and exit the European Union. And almost immediately there was an increase in the number of hate crimes here in the United Kingdom against people of Muslim or Polish descent, because we have a lot of Polish workers that have come over here, where people were walking up to them and basically saying, go home. And,
Yeah.
for people, I mean, I know you've experienced it in the United States with your, the Muslim diver, who somebody said to her, go home. She said, this is my home. I was born here. What do you do in a situation like that? What's your retort? I mean, have you experienced it? And then what sort of retort do you put?
Yeah, I usually admonish them cruelly on Twitter and cuss them out and try to make it an educational moment. You know,
Teaching moment. Everything is a teaching moment in life. Yes, I understand that.
what you are saying here is, again, like, not to sound like Republican Speaker Paul Ryan, but it's a textbook definition of racism. You assume because of my heritage that I just came across the border, and nothing could be further from the truth. But it does get exhausting after a while to still have to say that, and to also hear this resurgence of xenophobia where they don't even want to have to let kids have the birthright citizenship. The Constitution. Is it the 14th Amendment? It's like you're born here, you're an American citizen, but they want to go back and go back and do it. I think the way maybe many countries in Europe do. I think Germany is one, right, where you don't have the birthright citizenship. If you're son of immigrants, you're an immigrant.
I don't. I honestly don't know. I mean, I would think that would run afoul of EU laws. So that may have been the case in the past, but I think again, each country is sovereign and does its own thing to a point. But it's interesting that you mentioned the 14th Amendment, because that is a fear that a lot of people have, as we have a lot of fear here about leaving the European Union. So the question then becomes, I mean, it's going to take more than just a blowhard like Trump sitting in the Oval Office to make something like that happen. I mean, it's 2/3 of three-quarters of the legislature have to pass it. Yeah. They have to draft a constitutional amendment. Two-thirds of them have to pass it, and then 3/4 of the states have to ratify it. So it's a long damn way off. I mean, you're talking, 37 states or something like that before something like that could ever be possible. But the harm that the rhetoric does is really hard to watch and to see. I mean, I would ask the question more for your children. What are they experiencing? Because, I mean, they're growing up in this 24/7 media world.
I was just thinking that because 2 days ago we were all watching television, and my 12-year-old daughter was there watching. We were watching Trump give a speech or something. I don't know. And my wife was, yelling at the TV, and I was too. and my wife said something like, it's so clear. I mean, I've never seen somebody like this that hates us so much. And my daughter said, yeah, why does he hate us so much? And I thought, oh my God, why does my 12-year-old girl have to deal with this? We live in Greater East LA. I mean, the population just in our neighborhood is over 50%. Just in our town is over 50% Latino. But the high school is something like 90% Latino. And so my kids have, don't face that kind of, they don't stick out like sore thumbs. They're just like everybody else pretty much. So we kind of designed it, that way, I think. And, we don't want them I don't want them to grow up the way I did and then feel bitter for 50 years. And so, they just kind of know that things are wrong. Luckily, no one's hate crime them or anything, but that is a problem. I mean, my daughter is very dark skinned, it's like her mom. And, I hate that this guy's rhetoric, deputizes people to say whatever, base thing comes to their mind. And I pray that never happens to my daughter, but I know she's going to be out there in the world, in the near future. And, I don't know. It's just, it's not cool, Trump, or as you called him, Cinnamon Hitler.
Please don't get me sued.